I don't know what's happening. Okay, we're going to get started. We're calling the meeting to order at 3:01. I'm going to ask everyone, please silence yourself as I read the land acknowledgement. Thank you. Before we begin, we believe it's important to open our meeting by acknowledging the indigenous land that we share. Pasadena City College is a learning community within the indigenous homelands of people who have been known as the Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians of the Shishiaquanga village in Quiche Nation. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced removal from this land on which we gather. We honor all indigenous people, past, present, and future, and their continued survival and contributions to our society. We also honor the legacy of the African diaspora and recognize that this country would not exist without the free and slave labor of Black people. We share these acknowledgments to raise awareness about histories that are too often erased or forgotten, to recognize our place in this history, and to affirm our commitment to social justice, systemic change, and anti-racism. Thank you. Okay, and thank you for holding your, okay. Do we have public comment?
Yes, first is Yvette Rosas.
Sure. Oh, and actually, you come to the podium. I'm a newbie, so I'm sorry. Professor Rosas, can you come to the podium? Thank you.
Council members who want to support. Few.
You have 3 minutes.
Do you tell me when to start? Okay.
Just a minute, she'll let you know when she's ready.
Yes.
Okay, she's ready.
All right. Dear Senate Executive Board and Senators, as proud members of the counseling faculty, we are here to voice our support for the leadership of this governing board. To be quite frank, we were taken aback as we watched the last 2 Senate meetings unfold. We are concerned with the level of negativity and disruptions during Senate meetings that prevent productivity. The comments that have been directed toward Senate leadership, especially toward the the AS Executive Board, calls into question their integrity and level of commitment, and we would like to address that.
We appreciate the different perspectives, ideas, and opinions that are brought to the table and are openly discussed. We feel that the Senate Board adheres to policies and procedures and follows strict protocols, which allows for transparent communication. Agendas, videotape meetings, and minutes are all part of the process. Decisions are made with the consensus of leadership, executive board, and senators. In other words, we have a very democratic process at the college.
We have had the honor of working alongside Dr. Gina Lopez and Armia Walker for over the last 2 decades. They are the 2 hardest working individuals that we know, and they have been highly respected within our department, and their impact has been felt throughout the campus. Their leadership was instrumental in providing a safe space for our Black student population. They have expanded the Ujima program, established Black Academia, and created the Black Student Success Center. Coordinating an empowerment program is a labor of love due to the time commitment it has taken to run a successful program. They are committed to student success and equity. In addition to their already full plates, they have worked tirelessly as leaders to the entire campus by serving on the executive board. They have an extensive understanding of equitable practices and shared governance. We fully believe in their leadership abilities as the executive board members that serve faculty, students, and staff.
Our Senate President and Vice President ran for office and were elected democratically. This year, Dr. Lopez ran for a 3rd term unopposed. Faculty is encouraged to run if individuals are not content with the way the Senate is operating. All faculty are welcome to do so. I believe everyone has the right to express their opinion, but let's do it in a way that helps promote unity. We can agree to disagree. However, let's do it without rancor or unhealthy division. Thank you for your time.
Are there any other public members? Yes.
Anand Maradi.
Thanks in advance for considering this. Back in 1967, when PCC set up its academic senate, adjuncts were more like honored guests than faculty. According to the book Ghosts in the Classroom, quote, members of the business community were initially brought in to teach highly specialized classes that the academic faculty could not teach. The remuneration offered for this was minimal. The business person was successful in his or her field and didn't need the money. Instead, the primary gain for their efforts was a certain amount of prestige. The adjunct phenomenon was thus born, end quote. So it made sense that when the Academic Senate wrote our bylaws in the 60s, adjuncts were not included in typical faculty shared governance activities such as voting and petitions. However, it's now 2023, and Senate bylaws have not yet been updated to allow adjunct participation, even though so much has changed. First, adjuncts are completely different. No longer outside business folks brought in to wear the hat of professor. We are faculty through and through, fully invested in serving students. Far from outsiders, seniority lists show that an average of 41% of PCC adjuncts have worked here for over 10 years, and some for 15, 20 or more. We should be treated like faculty and included in faculty shared governance activities. California Ed Code agrees, stating, quote, part-time faculty should be considered to be an integral part of their departments and given all the rights normally afforded to full-time faculty in participation in department activities, end quote. Further, Ed Code ensures faculty, quote, the right to participate effectively in district and college governance, end quote. Note that it says faculty, not just full-time faculty. Our society has also changed. We now recognize how vital it is to celebrate all voices and how damaging it is to systematically exclude some groups. At PCC, we pride ourselves on the inclusion and full participation of all members of our community. It's time to bring our bylaws into alignment with our progressive values and join the many colleges that include adjuncts in various shared governance activities. I'm confident that when we do, PCC will be stronger and more vibrant for it, and the experience for students will be that much richer. Disenfranchisement, after all, does not exist in a vacuum. Students cannot thrive when about 50% of the faculty they depend on are marginalized. And adjuncts can't make this happen alone. We need the support of everyone in the PCC community to affirm that all faculty voices matter. So please, I'm asking you, please engage in dialogue about this. Reach out to share support and ideas for how to spread awareness and build a movement. We must update our campus culture before we can succeed in updating our bylaws. Last thing, but very important, this would not cost a single dime. Thank you so much for listening.
Do we have that comment? Yes. Ken Simon?
Shortly after 11 p.m. on Sunday, April 18th, I received a text message from Dean Lowentrout. He let me know that there was an anonymous tip related to a potential threat to the library building, and that the building would remain closed on Monday morning until cleared. As the chair of the library department, I appreciate Dean Lowentrout's timely communication. I also appreciate that Dr. Candace Jones arranged an alternate work location on campus for library employees during this closure. As the closure progressed, and then when the library was cleared to reopen at 11 o'clock, little additional information came our way. We have been told that PCC campus police were not the primary responders to this situation, and we understand that while an investigation is unfolding, information may often be scarce. Once we reopened, those of us who work in the library were understandably uneasy. What was the nature of the threat? Was it considered a credible threat? We only received a PCC text alert that police activity has concluded and the library is cleared to reopen. Dean Lowentrout and a library colleague spoke with Chief Machin and requested an increased police presence as we resumed business. Chief Machin said that there would be regular patrols in the library that day. Yet as the day wore on, library employees reported that no PCC officers or cadets came through. We also hoped for a debriefing as to the nature of the threat and whether it was considered credible, but no information was given to us that day. That same afternoon, a library employee spotted a large unattended duffel bag hidden in the bushes next to the library building. Staff immediately reported this to campus police. As considering the earlier threat to the building, this understandably caused concern and even alarm. Staff were appalled to witness the responding cadet or officer casually pick up the duffel bag and walk away. Considering the context and combined with the lack of the promised patrols, this raised concerns about the level of safety on campus. On behalf of the PCC library, faculty, and staff, I advocate for a policy of debriefings of affected campus employees after incidents such as a threat that closes a campus building, even in situations where available information is limited. I also advocate that campus police create and be given the resources to follow a standard of service in which promises to increase patrols are fulfilled and vigilance in light of threats to the safety of PCC employees and students is observed. Thank you.
Yes. Kristen Ogden. I think I'll be reading on her behalf. Colleagues and friends, thank you all who supported last Thursday's Core Plus Healing Arts Day at Pasadena City College, where we released the second annual Enscape magazine collaboration between the Creative Writing Program and the Core Program. Please share the special Enscape magazine issue and Healing Arts Creative Writing workbook with your students, colleagues, and community members. Print copies will be available in C345 during final exam week. This beautiful issue features poems, narratives, stories, art, and photography by voices of the carceral community at PCC and beyond. And the workbook includes inspirational writing and artwork from our Spring 2022 Enscape Plus Healing Arts magazine, currently housed on the PCC website on the English and Language Arts Division Enscape magazine page. The Healing Arts Day, sponsored by CORE and featuring the 2023 Enscape magazine Healing Arts issue, was a celebration of resilience, healing, and self-love, and the therapeutic power of art and writing. The day-long event featured a 2-hour keynote talk, reading and guided writing exercises with award-winning poet and writer and PCC friend Jenny Santiago Baca, who shared moving stories and his own poems with our students, talked with CORE and Impact students individually, and signed books and took photos with students and community members. The event also featured favorite PCC alumnus, poet Adrián Ernesto Cepeda, kicking off the open mic with a short reading and talk, followed by students reading their poems and stories in front of a packed, standing room only crowd of allies. For this issue, publication, and workbook, special thanks goes to CORE Faculty Director Nicholas Hatch, and much applause goes to the incredible editorial work of our team of Enscape magazine student editors, CORE Fellows Tristan Fowler, Angela Gonzalez Torres, Holly Jackson, Jessica Leith Young, and Jasmine Jazz Lopez. Please send them your congratulations. Thank you also to our event donor and to faculty and support staff from programs across campus who helped to fund Mr. Baca's appearance at PCC and who came to celebrate with us at the event. On behalf of the PCC Creative Writing Program and Enscape Magazine, we thank you for continuing to celebrate the experiences and voices of our students and community members at Pasadena City College. That concludes. And lastly, forgive me for mispronunciating, but Jiang Li. You have 3 minutes.
All right, good morning. All right, so on March the 27th, the board meeting, Armia Walker said she cannot breathe, and then her body is shaking, she has to vomit. The way I look at the video recording footage, she has been playing her cell phone behind her laptop for the 20-25 minutes, and all of a sudden, after Professor Bodis made a comment, she all of a sudden cannot breathe. According to the video footage, I highly doubt that. Number 2, Armia Walker said, I'm a black woman, and then when Professor Bodis clearly stated, she is black too. So what's the point of bringing your color on the table when you are directly communicating with a black member? Number 3, when Professor Bodis made a point regarding compare adjunct faculty to slavery, and then Armia Walker said, I will never tolerate such language, or I never allow you to do this in my presence or something like that. I just want to point out that adjunct faculty provide the same quality level of education to the students. I don't believe that just because they are adjunct faculty, I never feel the quality of education is getting lower. But the adjunct faculty does not have any benefit, and they do not get paid. Probably they only got paid like a quarter of compared to your full-time faculty salary. So I would say that's called 21st century slavery. I am happy to make that analogy all day long in my class, and I don't see any problem with that. Number 4, when we're talking about Amir Walker also mentioned the voter suppression, the rape, the murder, the children taken away. I am glad that my American government knowledge was taught by an adjunct faculty, and I learned American history without any color attachment. What I learned is right now in the United States, according to the 2020 census, only 1.1 Native American Indian remaining. So the other 99% simply wiped out, simply killed. So I don't compare to that. Why we cannot compare even the slavery to the adjunct faculty? I definitely believe adjunct faculty is working in a slavery working condition. There's nothing wrong with that. Most important, and then I also heard that Amir Walker said, how dare you? Do not do it again in my presence. This is a public comment forum, and then this is people have the freedom to express their opinion. And then just because you do not agree, that means we cannot do that at your presence. Who gave you the authority to say so? Who gave you the authority to do so? I have no idea. Most important, Amir Walker also said, I have been collegial as hell, just to be your example. I heard the board president as calling a trash or garbage to the co-workers.
Thank you. Are there any more public comments? Okay, that concludes public comment. We will move forward with our regular business. Now we need a motion to approve the minutes. Tony, do I have a second? Melissa is a second. Are there any objections to approving this by unanimous consent? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Okay, PCCFA.
Actually, before I get to my report, can I make a motion to rearrange the order of the agenda?
Yes. What are you trying
to rearrange the order of the agenda to discuss adjunct faculty representation first, after report? I had asked at the last meeting, I think.
You did, but it didn't make this agenda because we hadn't gotten enough information for this discussion.
So is it possible to add it to the agenda?
I'll leave that up to the will of the Senate. My only concern about that, Bevel, is that this is our last meeting, and if it gets, I think this is something that should be brought up earlier in the semester, because if we start the conversation now, we may not be able to finish it until our next session. I'll leave that up to the Senate. I don't have a problem with it. I just am concerned that we'll get started with something that we can't finish.
Can we limit the discussion for 10 minutes?
Even so, I don't know that if we did, I just don't know that we can finish it in this setting. I don't know. I'll leave it up to the will of the Senate.
I motion to go forward with this suggestion.
Okay. Do I have a second? A second. Okay. Let me see how we do this. I don't know where we will put it. We can here. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I have questions. Go ahead.
Me?
Yes, Lyman. I'm sorry.
In the, it's fine to discuss this, but to keep things from just going on too long, we have things to accomplish. Why don't, if possible, and I know that adjuncts are not monolithic, but if there could be some sort of particular statement as to what it is that, other than just more representation, that is being sought after, that would be a nice place to start that people could then reflect on over the summer. Something direct and
Okay, I saw Jose and then Meredith.
I was gonna ask if we do a roll call vote.
Oh, we're not there, we're having a discussion right now, but yes, we will have a roll call vote. So, Meredith.
We discussed the possibility of this at our, and forgive me for speaking out of turn, other folks who are on the Adjunct Issues Committee, we discussed at our meeting last Friday or the Friday before about the possibility of this being on the agenda and what we'd like to present if this were an agenda item. But since this wasn't an agenda item, we do not have a prepared statement to make that would be the kind of thing that you have in mind. So I think that that's worth considering in the name of keeping this a productive conversation.
Okay. Okay.
If it had been an agenda item, we would be more prepared to have a more productive conversation.
Yes. Lee, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm very ignorant. I'm new, right? I'm first year semester in the Senate. It seems to me there's a lot of adjunct representation right here and a lot of vocal representation. So I'm like confused as what's the issue of representation. I'm not aware that adjunct's not allowed to serve on other committees either. So I'm just asking. I'm coming from a place of ignorance. So educate me.
Give me a sec. I do think that. Again, I don't want to rush this through because I do think it's worth having a conversation about adjunct needs. I just don't know that the last meeting is the time to have it. But we can still have the conversation. The discussion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree that this is not a conversation that we would be able to finish today, but I don't see the harm in starting the conversation. And if we have the conversation, we'd be able to address Ling's question about, what are the numbers, what is the need, why are we asking for this?
I got you, Dr. Rose, but I saw Dr. Stevens first and then Dr. Rose.
Are we taking agenda items for next term, which will be fall? So if it wasn't approved or moved through today, are we nominating topics for next fall, or does that happen once fall starts?
As long as I can speak from my end, as long as the leadership for the Adjunct Faculty Committee lets me know that they want to be on the agenda for this, then they can be on the agenda first meeting in the fall.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Dr. Rose.
Well, I just wanted to point out that one of the reasons that we don't have any new business at this meeting is because not only will we have a 4-month stop out from now till we reconvene in fall, but also we'll have a lot of new senators. So if we do start a conversation today, when we come back in fall, many of the people in the room will be different. And so they won't have any context for that conversation continuing.
Anyone else? Yes, Melissa.
Using that logic, then why are we even having anything on today's agenda?
We're doing information items.
Like equity and all that. So I think, and I'd also like to hear from the maker of the motion, I'm not sure if it was Bevel or Tracy, about why they want to put this on the agenda today.
I think that's fair. Yes, go ahead, Tracy. I think Tracy made the motion, actually.
No, it was Bevel.
Bevel did. Okay, go ahead.
It's mainly because there's been issues with this being discussed in the bylaws committee, and since it has to come to the Senate for vote anyway, I think it's important that we have the discussion and we initiate the discussion so we see where we're at before the bylaws committee discusses it.
Anyone else? Yes, Tracy.
I'd just like to share with the group, I think what I feel is being initiated is simply a dialogue, a healthy dialogue. And yeah, it's been a year. It's our last meeting. Everything's not going to be finished today. We know that. The new group of people probably coming in next year, academic year. But I think this is a time for people to share what they feel. So we know if the group is feeling not supportive of having more adjunct representation, for example, or voting rights, it would be helpful to know why. That's what the discussion is for, to have a dialogue with one another. I personally feel when it comes to things like voting rights or more representation, that maybe full-time faculty feel like they'll lose something, that we're going to take away something. And I don't think I've heard any adjunct come with that attitude that they want to take anything away from what a full-time faculty member has earned. We respect them, they're our colleagues. But I think we, as you said in your public comment, which was absolutely delightful and informative, that we want to step into the light and be recognized and be a part of this institution. And I think we want to have a dialogue about it. And I think there's some fear here. This is what I sense where we get this energy that, you know, we have a few more reps where adjuncts can vote, that something's going to be taken away from someone. And I really don't think that's what we want or what we're claiming to do or take away power from anybody. It's not about that. It's like the student saying, you know, when I have a teacher, I have a teacher, whether he's a full-time faculty member or part-time. I'm looking at a great instructor.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
Okay.
And that we're going to a roll call vote. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed here? Okay. So the motion on the floor is to add adjunct issue concerns. Okay, am I saying, tell me repeat it again?
Increase in adjunct representation in the Senate.
We want to add that to the agenda. That's what you're voting for under information item. Yes, Lyman?
Yeah, so clearly this is not anything that would be voted on. This is merely a discussion because
Information
there's no way
item.
we can vote on something that's not.
No.
Okay. So this
It would
is
be
pure
information.
information. All right.
Yes. And I would propose we start with 5 minutes, if at your pleasure. 5 minutes, it could go as far as 15 minutes, but again, I'm going to leave that up to the will of the Senate, yes.
Could I put it at the end because it's not on the agenda rather than at the forefront? So we make sure our business gets completed before we start on this?
Well, we don't have a lot of business today, so I can put it at the end of the information items if the Senate wants to have that conversation. I don't have a problem with that, but it's not something that we're going to vote on today. It's not new business or old business. It's an information item. Yes, Lyman?
I move that if we decide to do this, it could go to the end of the information.
I think we already have a motion on the floor.
Well, that's already actually.
Yes, and that's something that we'll just do anyway. So, we know what the motion is. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with the executives, please.
Armia Walker?
A yes is what? A yes
Oh,
means that we add it to the agenda. A no is that we move on and we wait until fall.
Okay. Armia Walker?
Sure.
Sheila Rose?
Yes.
Nina Hicks, yes. Tracy Bowdish?
Yes.
Catherine Chang? Beville Constantine? Meredith Goldsmith?
Yes.
Shannon Markey? Yes. Mariah Armstead? No. Salvador Diaz?
Yes.
Melissa Michelson?
Yes.
Tallene Serapian? Carmen Stevens?
Yes.
Tim Molnarek?
Yeah.
Lindsay Ruiz?
Yes?
Taryn Solberg?
Yes.
Danielle Rapu?
Yes?
Margaret Bowles?
No?
Jose Castañon?
No.
Lyman Chafee?
Yes.
Rusty Fiore? Is absent. Jackie Duvall? Yes. Jessica Igo?
Yes?
Ning O'Connor?
Yes.
Jennifer Holden?
Yes.
Lauren Acker?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's safe to say that
22 yeses and 3 nos.
Okay, so we will add that to the end of the information items, which is perfect because we had a few people cancel, so I can keep you another hour or so. I know how much you love that. And Russ is not here to adjourn us, so yikes. Okay, so that is PCCFA, that's where we're at now.
Yes, I'm back. Thank you so much.
Oh, I do have a question though. So when this item does come up for information, who is going to lead that conversation? I'm not going to lead that conversation.
I can begin the conversation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, PCCFA.
Yes. Just a reminder to submit your ballots for the FA positions this week. The results will be announced this Friday, so we look forward to as much participation in the FA elections as much as possible. We will be having a general meeting in person this Thursday, 27th April, in Creveling Lounge, and lunch will be provided. So again, we're asking as many people to come to learn more about the new contract as well. Our contract has been ratified by our members. We had about 93% of our faculty vote in favor of the contract. I do want to speak to those who did not vote in favor. I want to say to you that we hear your concerns. We will continue to fight. I think no contract is perfect. And again, for those who did not vote in favor, we are still here supporting you. Just to highlight, we did secure health care for adjuncts, which I think is historic. Adjuncts have never had health care here at Pasadena City College. Those adjuncts who work 40% load will be responsible or will qualify for the same health care plan as a full-time faculty member. They will be responsible for 20% of the cost, and the district will cover 80%. We've secured additional paid office hours for adjunct faculty. We've had a 12% salary increase over the next 2 years for all faculty. We've added additional steps to the pay schedule for adjunct non-credit faculty, and we've also secured one-time bonus payments for both full-time and adjunct faculty. So again, I want to thank members of the FA board. We went through negotiations for almost a year to get this contract. We worked tirelessly behind the scenes, and we believe that we are headed in the right direction. Thank you.
Are there any questions for PCCFA? Okay, I saw Meredith, and then Jose, and then Danielle. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. My question is, you said that 93% voted in favor, but wasn't it only 290 people voted at all?
Yes, it was
So
based
it wasn't 93% of the faculty,
Yes.
or even of, was it of the
of the membership.
So is 290 people 93% of the membership?
Well, the 93% represents those who did vote,
Okay, so 93% of 290 people.
approximately.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jose?
When is the new contract going to be presented to the board?
We expect it to be on at the board's table at the next Board of Trustees meeting.
Okay. Danielle?
For the 40% load for part-time to receive health care, how will that be addressed for non-instructional faculty members that are working on an hourly basis?
It's a great question, something that I probably won't be able to answer right now.
Sure,
but
just put it on your guys' radar.
Yes, I can reach out to the FA board and get a response to you as quickly as possible.
Okay, the reason I bring that up too is because their load can vary from week to week, where some weeks they may have certain number of hours versus other weeks where we have increased activities where we need more hands on deck. So with varied hours throughout the semester, how that might impact somebody from month to month.
Right, yeah, the concern is well taken.
Okay, I have a question before and then I got Meredith, Dr. Stevens, and then Melissa. What time was the dinner? I was going like this, I wasn't telling you to hurry up. I'm like, what time is the dinner, or the meeting?
The meeting on Thursdays at 12.
Thank you. Okay, Meredith.
Dovetails nicely to my question, which is, are only current dues-paying members invited, or can all faculty attend?
All faculty actually are encouraged to attend.
Thank you.
We want to hear from everyone.
I just want to add to what Danielle was questioning regarding the load, if it will be looked at on a semester basis for non-instructional adjunct, just so that it's parity, and don't hold them just to hour per hour for 1 week, and it's like, if you don't make that cut for that week, you're out of it.
Yes.
Because if we're looking semester to semester, it's not good.
Okay, Danielle. I'm sorry, not Danielle. Melissa, sorry.
This is a procedural question. I'm confused. So if it goes to the Board of Trustees at the next board meeting, but faculty will have already ratified it, can the board legitimately just say, no, we don't like that? Or what's the point of that order of things? Do you know?
That's probably a question beyond my scope. I think the board really seriously considers the ratification of the contract by the faculty. So I think most likely we expect them to sign off on the contract.
Can I add to that just a little bit? Not speaking specifically to the contract, but...
I'm sorry, you haven't been recognized by the chair.
Okay, I'm waiting for the chair.
I did want to say this, though, as to answer Melissa's, or to answer that, I believe that the board can pull, they can pull this item. That's what happened with MA. And I think in their report, if you have questions, maybe they can shed some more light on it, perhaps. Okay, I'm sorry, Dr. Stevens, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I forgot to check in first, so thank you. I just wanted to add that at PCC, everything has to be board reported first. So yes, they definitely can pull it, but it would not move forward if it's not board reported. So that's why it has to go through that process, and then fingers crossed they approve it. And then not board reported.
Okay, any other questions for PCCFA? And I don't know who this is. If there's somebody over there, I can't see. So can you just tell me if they raised their hand? Oh, got it. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so next we have adjunct faculty. Catherine.
So I will just give you guys a quick summary of what we did this year in the AFI committee. So this year we started by setting goals, and I'm going to list some of the goals that we set as a committee. One was to increase awareness of the committee, membership, and participation. Another was to promote a culture of collegiality towards adjunct faculty. Another, to increase awareness of part-time faculty issues, to create opportunities for adjunct faculty to connect, to collaborate with other groups to make meaningful changes, and to lift the voice of adjunct faculty. And these are just goals on top of what we do as a committee, which is bring information back and forth to a constituent. Back in the fall, on October 8th, I attended the California Federation of Teachers State Council, where I spoke about different topics, but highlighting the importance of all faculty to have a voice and a seat at the table. On October 14th, the AFI committee also attended the campus chat with the Board of Trustees, where we advocated for adjunct faculty. October 24th, we made a presentation here in the Academic Senate, if you can remember. And this was to really increase the awareness of the problems facing adjunct faculty at PCC, as well as our goals and our plans for this year. In November, we focused on communication, and we welcomed 4 new members to our committee. And we invited all part-time faculty at PCC to attend the ASCCC Part-Time Faculty Symposium. Thanks to Secretary Lena Hicks for sharing that information with us. And in December and January, we worked on ideas to improve some of the challenges that part-time faculty face at PCC. In February, we focused on research and advocacy education. We attended 2 events. One on February 3rd it was the FACC Policy Forum, which was hosted by the Faculty Association of California Community Colleges. And on February 24th, we attended the biggest event for part-time faculty statewide, which was hosted by the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges. And the name of the event was the Part-Time Faculty Equity in the California Community College System. In March, we hosted our first event, the AFI Meet and Greet. We talked about that a little bit here. That event went really well, and we hope to have more events like this in the future. And next week, we will be attending the last event of the year, which is the 2023 Annual California Part-Time Faculty Association Conference, where we will learn about the California state budget, legislative updates, bills that benefit part-time faculty, and other legislative proposals. We had a very busy and productive year. I'd like to thank my co-chair, Professor Bodis, as well as the members, Meredith Goldsmith, Shannon Maraghi, Vida Watkins, Roy McCoy, Kelby Accardi Harrison, Rachel Pena-Rubia, Mark Liu, and Kavita Italia for their dedication and volunteering their time. It really speaks for their commitment to the part-time faculty and for the college. Thank you. That concludes the report.
Okay, are there any questions for our adjunct faculty? I do have more of a suggestion than a question. I'll be doing my part, but I would love to see some non-instructional adjunct faculty members on the committee as well, since clearly the issues are different when it comes to everything, actually.
Yes, can I respond?
Sure.
So our committee, because I know that concern was raised in the beginning of the year, our committee has remained open through the year, so we don't close it ever. We keep it open. So if somebody wants to join for the last meeting, that's fine.
When's your last meeting?
Well, we had our last meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for adjunct faculty? Okay, moving on. Classified Senate, I don't see Ms. Joseph here. Is there a representative for Classified Senate? Okay, we'll move on. Associated Students.
Thank you. So we finalized election results as of last Friday for our executive board, and we now have 8 new members for the 2023-2024 school year. We expressed our concerns at the last Board of Trustees meeting, which I'd just like to reiterate here. That includes a raise in stipend for student leaders, more academic support for students of color, and more sustainability efforts on campus. I'd also like to ask for everyone to please encourage students to participate in our Lancer Today Transfer Tomorrow event taking place tomorrow at the Mirror Pools from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. There will be UC and CSU representatives present to answer any questions students may have about their transfer process. This includes UCLA and UC Berkeley residents. There will also be a photo booth, a DJ, games, free food, and free goodie bags at the event. And that concludes it.
Any questions for the Associated Students? Yes, Danielle.
I just wanted to congratulate Hanan on getting into UC Berkeley.
I hope we get someone equally as informative next year as you were this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your service, Hanan.
Thank you. Okay, any questions for our Associated Students? Awesome. Okay, Management Association.
Not a lot to report. At our last general meeting, we had a presentation from Armia Walker and the review on basis. And we put that out to our general association. We expect to put it forward. We're also working with Classified Senate for Classified Appreciation Day, and we've got some exciting things going on with them, and to show our appreciation for our classified employees. And then I believe it was your question. So yeah, the MA and FA are a bit different since, I mean, you guys have a contract. We're at will employees, so we had an MOU that we put forth basically as a me too. So CFT got raised, we get our raise, right? But the basic process is you put the contract up for a board agenda, and then there's a board agenda subcommittee, which board chair Chen Lao presides over, and that's where the MA's MOU got pulled because she wanted more information. It was put back on the agenda for this last board meeting and passed, but I would suspect that the FA's contract would go through. I wouldn't see it. But you never know. But that's the process it follows. Agenda subcommittee, then it put on the agenda, then it goes to the full board for review.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Management Association? Yes, Gary.
Hi, just so I understand, so was it a seeking parity with the classified union, not with the FA union?
The FA hadn't ratified the contract yet, and so kind of from what we were seeing, the contract, like you said, took over a year. We weren't sure if there was an end in sight, so we were told to go ahead and draft the MOU.
Based on the classified one? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Management Association? Okay, thank you so much. Now we'll move on to Officers' report. President's report. I have nothing to report other than the graduation celebrations were amazing. The ones that happened last week. I know we attended Black Prom, which was phenomenal. I mean, it's amazing what we can do for our students here. I mean, and they appreciate it. So I would like to encourage all senators to even spread it further to your divisions. We're here for the students. This is their academic journey. You know, let's be facilitators rather than barriers. That's all, the end of my report. Vice President's report.
Yes. Let's see. I don't have a formal report on anything, but I do have a something to share with the group. I feel the need to address the comments that were made at our meeting on specifically to Tracy. I wanted to offer you an apology. It was not my intention. I'm going to read this so I can stay on track. It was not my intention to say hurtful words to you while expressing my disdain for your comparison of slavery to the experiences of adjunct faculty. And I did that, and I apologize for that. Nowhere is it a part of what I believe to hurt someone, especially a fellow Black woman. As Black women, we do struggle every day to prove who we are. Many times we're discounted because of the color of our skin. We're often taxed to do above and beyond our job description, regardless of our positionality. And it would not sit well with me knowing that I hurt another individual, especially a Black woman. I cannot control whether you receive my apology or not, but I give it all the same. I do think it's important as Black women we support each other. And to be clear, I'm offering this apology under no duress or pressure from anyone. I make it of my own free will to make an effort to extend collegiality, because that's what we talk about. Also, to be clear, I meant everything I said about my disdain for the way you use slavery as a comparison to the adjunct faculty struggle. For that, I will not apologize, just as I would hate for anyone to compare their struggle to the Holocaust or to internment camps or any other horrific atrocities to any group. So whether you identify as a Black person or anyone else in this room or anyone else, I believe you should stand in your own truth and your own issues without comparing your struggle to an oppressed group. That comparison was hurtful for me. And just like you said, Tracy, you said you couldn't sleep for 2 weeks. I also had trouble sleeping, and I've had a rough time ever since. And I too had to take off work under the stress as well. Also, when you stated no one has come to your defense, I can relate to that pain. I have felt the same way for over a month now with anonymous newsletters and hurtful emails going out attacking our board's integrity and attacking the validity of my office position. Moving forward, I hope that we as a Senate and we as Black women can support each other, as our war is not with each other, but it is against institutional racism, bias, prejudice, discrimination, cultural taxation, identity taxation, microaggression, sexism, and many more things that we have to suffer as Black people and Black women. So I'm hoping this apology will some way serve as a way to help both of us heal from the situation, and that we both do better moving forward, knowing that words can cause pain. So again, Tracy, and to anyone else I may have offended, I offer my sincere and heartfelt apologies. And that's it.
Thank you, Vice President Walker. Secretary's report?
No report.
Treasurer's report?
Yes.
Okay, so as always, I'm here to share our balances. We have an increase of $181 to our business savings account for a total of $19,765.73. Our checking account has remained the same at $692.06. That's a big difference. And so our total account balance is $20,457.79. I also responded to a public records request by Melissa Michelson for all of the accounts that the Senate oversees from July 1 of 2022 to current. So I provided that information. Thank you. This concludes my report.
Yes, Danielle.
Does this balance reflect the scholarships that have been granted?
No, the scholarships are under the foundation.
Okay, so it's separate funding, got it.
Yes, they oversee our accounts for us.
How many scholarships were we able to award?
We're awarding 12, and that will be happening today at 5 o'clock. So those of you who can stay will have light refreshments and get to celebrate those 12 students.
Thank you. Any other questions for our treasurer? Okay, so let's move forward to information items. And we have an instruction update, but I don't see Dr. Ramirez here. I haven't heard anything from her about not coming, so that's, yeah, I don't know where she's at. Are you presenting for Dr. Ramirez?
No, I'm not, sorry. I left something up there. So.
Okay, so we're going to scratch that. And we have a student services update from Dr. Jeffrey Alexander.
Thank you. So, it's commencement season, so I just wanted to send out a quick reminder. We all know about commencement May 5th at 7 p.m. in Robinson Stadium, but I wanted to send a reminder about Lavender graduation, which is our LGBTQIA+ community graduation, May 27th, 6 to 9 p.m. You can find it out in the quad. Our Latinx A or Latino graduation, 6 to 8 p.m. on the 28th. That'll be in Section Auditorium. And then our undocumented graduation as well, which is 6 p.m., May 26th, incredible. So it's commencement season. If you want to participate in large commencement May 5th, it's probably the day would probably be best for us. If you email commencement@pasadena.edu to express your interest to participate in that ceremony. I was told to remind all faculty to, as soon as you're able, submit grades. It helps us out a lot. It also helps out our transfer students who we have to get transcripts out to school. So the earlier we can get those grades in, the better we can help our students who are transferring out. The stress week is happening this week. So tomorrow there'll be yoga out in the quad from 12:15 to 12:50. Wednesday, everybody's favorite, Comfort Dogs will be out there, 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then Thursday, there'll be tea. And if you have something to get off your chest, personal counseling will be there to help out. Summer registration is still available. Remember, students can register for classes literally to the day they start. So summer registration is still available, so please, we highly encourage that. Fall registration begins May 22nd. The first year experience will be holding registration workshops throughout the summer to help students register for the fall. Speaking of summer, student services operating hours will be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. throughout the summer. So we'll be here to help students get onboarded and help them out throughout the summer. And then lastly, it's transfer season, so a lot of our transfer students are receiving notices that they got into their schools or they didn't. Transfer Center is currently helping out all students make that decision or help them with their appeals, because every school has an appeal process, and we have a really great relationships with helping students in this process. So if you have a student who's came to you and they didn't get to the school they want, please send them to the Transfer Center so we can help them on an appeal, or any student who's looking to transfer in the fall, please send them to the Transfer Center as well. That is all I have to report.
Thank you. Do we have questions? Yes.
I was trying to run.
Could you repeat the stress week events?
Yes. So Tuesday, it's yoga, 12:15 p.m. or to 12:50. Wednesday is Comfort Dogs, 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then Thursday is tea and personal counseling, all out in the quad.
Thank you. All right. I have two questions. One is a little random. One is, okay, tea, you mean tea?
Tea. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't mean tea.
Right, okay. That's one. And the other thing is, I don't know who put those signs in the stalls about summer. Those are amazing. David. That's David? Oh my God, those are amazing.
Yes.
Okay, that's all right. Anyone else have any? Yes, Jose.
I have two. I know in previous meetings this was mentioned, but the fall schedule goes live next week, correct?
Is that?
The fall schedule?
Yes.
Goes live next week?
It's already online, it's already live, yes.
And then number two, in terms of grades, if I were to, let's say, submit my grades to Lancer on Tuesday, how fast do you think those grades would be processed? Can we say the next day or 2 days after, or?
That's a more technical admissions answer, but if you put your grades in, it'll be seen as you put them in. In terms of the way it relates to being on transcripts and being on records, that's just a whole nother process, but it'll be readily available once you submit it.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I'm asking is I've had students ask me, if you submit them Tuesday, how fast do you think they'll be processed? And I'm like, I kind of still think the same thing as an IT thing, but I don't know how fast.
It gets technical.
Okay.
But they'll be able to view them as soon as you put them up. Versus the technical piece of getting all the transcripts and it out. We kind of wait for all grades to be in before we run that process, because we don't want to send a transcript out with the incomplete grade. So we have to wait till we get all grades before we can run our process to be able to submit them on official documents like transcripts.
Are there any other questions? Because we'll have to make a motion to extend. Is that a motion to extend by 5 minutes? Do I have a second? Jose seconds. Are there any objections to approving this by unanimous consent? Okay. Go ahead, Jose. You had a question still?
Oh, no, I second.
Sal.
For Lavender grad and Latinx grad, I think you said May, but it's this week.
This week, so April. Thank you for catching me on
Can
that.
you give those dates again?
So it's April 27th and April 28th. Thank you for catching that. So Wednesday and Thursday.
Any other questions for Dr. Alexander?
Thursday and Friday.
Thursday, Friday.
Oh my God, Dr. Alexander.
It's been a long week. It's only that.
Okay, yes.
Does fall registration begin May 22nd?
Yes, that does.
Okay, okay, thank you.
I got that date right.
Okay.
Okay, Talene.
I'm just DMing Miriam. It's confirmed. When grades are posted, it's kind of consistently being updated on the transcript. So if you post on a Tuesday, it should pretty immediately be posted on their transcript. So as long as it's posted in their Lancer point, they see it, that means it's ready to request a transcript.
Gotcha. Cool, thank you.
But if you have a short-term class, so if you taught the first half of the semester and you posted those grades, those won't appear until the end of the term. So just keep that in mind. But yeah.
Yes, Melissa.
I just want to make sure that I understood what you just said was, as soon as we post the grades in Lancer Point, does it go right to the student?
To Banner.
Yeah, so they'll be able to see it on their banner.
To Banner, so it should pretty immediately start getting posted in Lancer Point. So usually with Banner, with everything, we say, wait an hour, wait a couple hours for the refresh, but it's not like it'll take days at that point. The distinction is Canvas versus Lancer Point, like once your grade is in Lancer Point. So I always tell students, check what your final grade is. If it's in Lancer Point, request your transcript. If it's only in Canvas, don't request it yet.
So,
Melissa.
This doesn't happen a lot, but it might happen if we make a mistake on the grade and then have to go and put in a new one. Does that automatically transpose in the transcript somehow for the student, or how does that work?
Like I said, it all depends on a lot of factors there. So if you change the grade before, say the student requested the transcript and it was sent, then we'll have to do a whole new transcript to send out. But that's very tight timeline where I don't foresee that happening. So if you say Monday, Tuesday, there was a different grade, their transcript hasn't went out that fast.
Jose.
I'm just wondering about this too. I know when we add stuff to Canvas and stuff, they get emails or we submit scores. But do they get an email if we submit a grade on that? They don't get any notification at all? So they just check on a random basis?
They spam their Lancer Point every hour looking for their grade. They call the office wondering where their grade is.
Dr. Stevens?
And I just want to add to your question, Melissa. If for some reason a grade change has to happen, I would recommend emailing the student, just because if it takes like the next day for you to notice it, or 2 days or 3 days, and that's for all of us. Just because a student might request their transcript once they see that grade, and if they request it and you change it like 3 days later, that previous grade could potentially be on there, because the student will have to pay and re-request their transcript. So the school is not just gonna put out another one because the grade was changed. It goes based off of when the student requested it. So I would definitely let a student know so that they could work with admissions. That just would be the nice thing to do.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Alexander. Okay, Dr. Boland sends her regrets. She had a family emergency and would not be able to come today. So we'll pick up our IEDJ. I know some of us were really looking forward to that. We'll pick that up in the fall. Now we have E-syllabus update by Dr. Sheila Rose.
Yes, so you can see on the agenda that Dr. Cristina Salazar-Romo was originally slated to present on the e-syllabus. Unfortunately, she's not feeling well, so because this is a timely issue, I asked if she would be okay with me presenting. I was part of the original team that adopted the e-syllabus here at PCC and that decided to use equity funding to customize it. Christina has deep expertise in equity and syllabi. That was the subject of her dissertation. And so that's why I recruited her years ago to lead this group. And so this is very much a customized product that we have here at PCC that is already loaded into Canvas for every faculty member to use. And so there have been some updates that I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to show you how you can find it in Canvas also. And please stop me anytime if you have any questions. So as you can see, we have added the land, a very brief land acknowledgement to the e-syllabus. A lot of the information is loaded automatically. This makes it a lot easier. So these are just examples, but they'll be updated every semester. So they'll have the most current information and you won't have to add that yourself. We created an affirming welcome for all students. This part here, how to reach me, is entirely editable by faculty, so you can put all of your information about your office hours, your preferred methods of communication, your email, whatever you would like there. And hopefully some kind of welcome message about, like, please do come see me in my office hours. Please reach out anytime you have questions. The class overview also is for you to edit. So in addition to the catalog language, the description of the class, you can add some additional information you would like your students to know up front. The course description from the catalog is automatically loaded as well as the transfer credit, whether it's CSU and or UC transferable, and the grading options. So letter, I don't know the audit, thank you, and pass, no pass. And just a quick reminder that that pass, no pass deadline has been extended to the last day of classes, right? Okay. Also, these important dates are here for students to see. So census and the last day to drop with a refund. This will be updated now that the information, the rule is the last day of class. And then also the days to drop with and without a W. All of the information about meeting time and place, and synchronous, asynchronous, hybrid will all be listed here as well. The student learning outcomes are also automatically loaded into the e-syllabus. Materials, so whether you are using open educational resources or asking students to purchase materials, you can customize that information. And of course, assignments and grading, you'll be putting in any information you would like students to know. Additional information, so there's a section where you can add anything that you would like that is not included in these other categories. One of the things that the e-syllabus does that's very helpful is it has up-to-date student support services, and we work with our DSPS office they create this message here, so it's very consistent and has the correct information.
There's links, and so students don't have to go out of the e-syllabus to the website in order to find most of our support services. These are linked through the e-syllabus tool. And we also have 3 kind of core college policies included. So academic integrity and student conduct, course attendance, and discrimination and complaints. Okay. Now there are 2 optional items. So PCC Connect. I'm curious who's familiar in the room with PCC Connect. Is this something, okay, wonderful. So a majority, but not everyone. So I am the campus PCC Connect faculty lead. So if you have any questions about PCC Connect, please always do reach out to me. So basically, this is the tool that we use in order to connect students to student support services. So if students want to make an appointment with their success coach, so we're at the point right now on our campus where every single student has a success coach who they can reach out to as their single point of contact, who can then connect them to all of our other resources, whether it be counseling, career center, our Lancer Care basic needs pantry, right? So instead of having to figure that out, they have one human who can stay up to date with all of our student services and guide them to what's appropriate based on their need. So every student can make an appointment with their success coach or email their success coach using PCC Connect. Students can also raise their hand in PCC Connect and ask for different services such as tutoring, a career center appointment. Also, our Lancer Care Basic Needs provides certain gift cards, including Uber, gas, and grocery gift cards, and students can raise their hand asking for those kinds of support using PCC Connect as well. Faculty can also use PCC Connect to make referrals for their students to the success coach, to counseling.
Meredith?
You want to set time?
Second. 5 minutes?
5 minutes, yes.
Any second? Okay, are there any objections to approving this by unanimous consent? Seeing none, you have an additional 5 minutes.
Okay, so I was mentioning that faculty can also use PCC Connect to refer their students to different support services, and we've kind of limited the number. So if you're not sure, the success coach is the best referral to make, because then again, you're helping connect the student with a success coach and also ensuring that the students are getting the information and the help that they need. So this is optional information. It explains to students about what PCC Connect is and everyone's role within PCC Connect. Another optional section that has been added to the e-syllabus is the COVID statement. So we are prioritizing our students' physical, emotional, and mental health. And this is one way that you can help to convey that. Gina, I see a hand.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you?
Yeah, I'm taking questions.
Those are optional. Are those going to automatically populate and then we would delete them if we didn't want them? Like, do we have access to this language?
Yes, yes. So this language is there, and then but it's not locked. So some of the other sections, like the SLOs, those are locked, so you cannot remove them. But this you could remove if you would like.
Not that I would want to. I'm just.
I know. Yes, absolutely. Or if you wanted to customize it, like maybe add something or change it, this is definitely editable.
Thank you.
Lyman?
If someone was old and in the way, and he wanted to access these syllabi, sort of make
Yes.
his progress easier at creating a semester, how
Yes.
would he do that?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking, Lyman. The check is in the mail. So here in all of our Canvas shells, and hopefully this will open, you can choose to put the e-syllabus into your navigation bar. So when you are doing your settings kind of in the beginning of the semester, and you are setting up your navigation, right? And you have that, whoops, what am I doing? I'm terrible.
For the course.
Yes, sorry. Okay, thank you. I'll get back there. Okay. Yes, not personal settings, course settings, thank you. Sorry, it's a little slow.
This is on a course-by-course basis?
Yes, so you would have to drag thank you, here, settings, and then here in the navigation tab, so the things in the box at the top, students can see. The things in the box at the bottom, they cannot. And so you would drag from the bottom box to the top and then save. And that makes the e-syllabus visible to students, and you can decide where to put it.
As it doesn't just replace the syllabus button that's already there.
So the syllabus button in Canvas is actually a list of all the assignments you create in the order that they are due. You can add syllabus language there. So some teachers have asked me, is this confusing? It could be. So you could hide the syllabus tool and just have assignments tab available. Or you could copy the language from the e-syllabus or have a PDF and put that on the syllabus and then hide the e-syllabus tool. So there's ways around that.
Okay, Catherine?
Yes, so what we're looking at is just a draft, it's not what's currently on the e-syllabus.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, Lauren?
So I was just going to say how much I love the e-syllabus, and also the fact that you can import from previous semesters. So once you do create the language, you can drag it into all your classes as needed, update it. It's just saved me personally so much time. I did just want to ask, I have noticed occasionally there's been an error in the discipline, like it'll say sociology instead of history.
Okay.
If I notice that, who do I contact?
Yes, so our online education department, so the wonderful folks who help us with Canvas, Jason Batru, Christy Maureen, they can help us also with the e-syllabus. And so just, if you're here, here's the edit, copy, download, right? This little drop-down menu here at the top is how you get in there to customize it.
Yes, Melissa?
I don't know if Christina has done the update, but last semester here in the Senate, I brought to her attention the fact, or maybe it was in an email, I'm not sure, but I brought to her attention that it doesn't have our professors' names there anymore, used to. And so where does it have our full name, not just like copy paste it from the schedule?
What, right here in the meeting times, it has my full name?
Okay. It would be great to be able
Melissa,
to.
hold on for a sec, we need to extend this. Motion to extend by?
Jessica, sure.
No, by 5 minutes. Do I have a second? Tracy, second. Jessica, maybe. And Tracy make the second. Are there any objections to approving this by unanimous consent? Okay, this is our final extension, 5 minutes.
Yeah, I just, Christina said she would do something about that. So far, I don't see anything there, but it would be great. I can maybe tell you and you could relay it to her. Again, that it would be nice to have our names more prominent. Thank you.
Talene?
I also wonder if that's something that, we have a little bit of control over to put under the how to reach me. Because for some, the name that is in the system may not be the name they actually want their students to refer to them by for various reasons. And so I wonder if that's not necessarily standard or prominent, and that's something we can elect to do in the how to reach me. I guess there's two ways of looking at it, because there have been HR issues where names don't really match what name you go by, but for HR reasons, that is not proper. So maybe perhaps that faculty member would not want that to happen, and for, legal reasons, they can't get it changed.
Good. And Jessica, I saw your hand up.
Exactly.
Okay, I have Shannon, then Hanan. Go ahead.
This is more of an IT issue. I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but sometimes when you click the syllabus drop-down, it gives like the all 5 options like it is now. 1, 2, 3, yeah. But other times when you click it, there's only 3 options there, and it doesn't have the option to print, so I'm not sure what that's.
I've had the same issue, and I've always had to just go out and come back in, but it is annoying. I agree.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find out anything about that.
Yeah, because I know about that now, but I know for new people who, they might be like, oh, I just can't print, or.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And next was Hanan.
I just want to say from like the student perspective, sometimes it's a little bit confusing to have e-syllabus and syllabus. Because like as a student who had to go back and download all of my syllabi, like, when I applied to college, or to some colleges, it was a little bit confusing.
Yes.
So I definitely support the e-syllabus option.
Okay.
It's just like more accessible and like you can download the PDF and I think it's great. Yeah.
Great.
That's good feedback.
Thank you.
Dr. Stevens.
I would just recommend that there be like a frequently asked questions cheat sheet for people, just so then how some of colleagues in here have asked, who do we contact when we see this issue, or like the going in and out, right, to refresh something. Because sometimes people are freaking out or probably reaching out to Canvas when it just could have like refreshed or reached out to certain places.
Right.
So I think that would be good for all of us to have too. And then can you go back to the original document you were showing all the way to the top? I had a question or something I wanted to see.
Yes.
The first page, please. At the very top of it, sorry. Where's the land acknowledgement? I was wondering if that could be added, like if the rest of them have a header. If I was a student, just looking at it from an outside perspective,
yeah.
I would be like, what
Okay.
is this? What is Pasadena City College trying to tell me?
Okay.
So if there's a header, like the welcome one, where it says land acknowledgement, shared across campus, or shares our mission, something like that, that just lets a person know why am I reading this part versus any other statement. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to show that you can also have PCC Connect here in Canvas if students just have like one point of entry, but also our three main forms of educational technology, kind of in the order that students would need them, are also here on the login button.
Okay, question, and it is, has the academic integrity language been updated to include AI?
I don't know, because that is student life, so let me see if that is a thing. Thank you.
Oh, we have any other questions for Dr. Rose? Okay. Oh, yes, Lauren.
I was just going to say, you can always add your own academic honesty policies in addition.
Yes.
So, there's enough way to add all sorts of extra policies. So if you have a more refined academic honesty policy with specific, consequences or definitions, then you can always add your own policies. Noting that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Dr. Rose.
Thank you.
Next, we have our friend and former Senator, Ken Simon, is going to give us an update on the Faculty Development Committee.
All right, and that works well because I left my mask up there. I had thought that a document was going out to everyone, but I'm not sure if it did. Did anyone receive an attachment with this in the agenda?
I didn't get it, so.
Okay, I better pull it up then. So give me just 1 second here. I put it in a place where I can get to it quickly.
While he's pulling that up, I do want to say, it looks like Professor Constantine has left, so I hope that with the adjunct faculty that are here, one of you can help lead the discussion. Absolutely. Thank you.
Can I ask one more question that just came up? So when will this is about the last item, when will that e-syllabus, this revised one, be available to us to use?
I'll have to check in with Christina and get back to you. Thank you. But definitely by fall, but I'll find out if by summer.
Oh, great, thank you.
Okay. We are good. So, many of you might recall that last fall I came to this meeting and I talked about changes that we were making to the funding process for things like going to conferences, classes. What I wanted to share with you is that we finally have a draft ready of those changes that we'd like to put into effect really right away. It doesn't require a vote because we're not significantly changing existing policy. It's still the same AP governing everything. But I wanted to run it past everyone in case there were questions. This is a broad overview because I thought everyone was getting this in advance, but I'll start with the overview and then scroll down to the new document. First of all, this is one step in something that's going to take a little longer because Jason Robinson with OPOD, does everyone know what OPOD is? Office of Professional and Organizational Development. It used to just be PD. And they oversee the Faculty Development Committee, right? So they're in this process of moving to a single form that will be used by faculty, staff, and managers to request funding. But faculty will have a few questions that pop up if you say you're faculty. And they won't be different questions. We're just moving them into a different form. We're going to streamline the instructions overall, as you'll see. Most of the details that were cluttering up our instructions that were already in AP 7420 or in fiscal instructions for filling out your expenses, we've taken them out of our portion of the instructions. We also decided in a philosophical way, we took the word conference out of the name of this funding, and we're no longer going to get hung up on things. Is this a conference or a class or a workshop? Well, we can't fund it because it has workshop in the title, right? We are also not limiting activities to, it used to say that the purpose of the event, now we're going to call it an event, has to pertain to the subject that you teach or your curriculum for your courses. We're broadening that so that it has to be in support of your professional activities at PCC. So if you are working in other capacities, we want to still support that. We're also, finally, removing the policing of sharing out after the conference or the event. It got to be this, we're going to punish you by not funding you later if you don't share with your friends, right? We don't want to do it that way. We will instead be sending out a little message after funding is approved, giving options for sharing out and encouraging it, because we do. So let me just go down. I'm not showing something with strikeouts and highlights because we really rewrote it from the top down. And this is a draft. I don't think, given the time, that I'm going to read this word for word with you, but I do want to just give you some highlights, right? This is all the same in terms of the amount of funding each year. We won't know for sure until the budget comes out, so this is carried over from this current year. But we do divide the budget into 3 installments for the year so that we can dole things out evenly. It's still going to be a maximum of $1,500 per faculty member that can be allocated across multiple events. Not that it stretches that far often. First come, first serve. Okay, here's something important because I just learned this an hour ago. This restriction that is still in here in the draft where we cannot fund travel to over 20 states because of their, shall we say, regressive legislation, that is no longer applicable. Apparently something changed and we can now fund travel to those states. I believe the idea was that the finding was that it wasn't effective to come out to states this way and they're working on something else instead. But it frees up travel. So this is going away. We are still going to ask for documentation and explanations of the relevance or what's happening at this event. Still something in there about keeping receipts. And finally, a reference to the AP that governs everything, all the rules about mileage and such. So as you can see, the instructions are very brief. They used to be much longer and have a lot more rules in them. So yeah, I apologize, this is a real whirlwind overview, but I had thought everyone was going to see this in advance, but if there are questions.
We can mail that email out.
I would.
Copy, send it to me and I'll get it out, or send it to Nadia and then she'll send it to everybody.
Okay, will do.
Okay, any questions? Yes.
Hi, thank you so much for sharing this because updates are important. There's a couple of things that I want to touch base on.
Sure.
It is awesome that they remove those states. Will it start immediately or does it start next academic year?
About lifting the states? The email that I got, which was from fiscal, just said it no longer applies. So I'm assuming we can start now.
Okay, before we move forward, yes, I saw
Extend
your
by 5
first.
minutes.
I'm sorry, your hand.
Motion to extend.
Sorry, I thought I put my hand up first.
I have a motion. I need a second. Thank you. Are there any objections to extending this by 5 minutes? Seeing none, you have an additional 5 minutes.
Thank you for answering my first question regarding potentially immediate. The other question that I had was regarding the grand total amount that's split over the year.
Yes.
Is there any motion option to get that amount to increase? Because it's been the same. And I was just wondering, traveling and conferences are going up, but we're not getting no more to go to them. Included within that, the meal limitations. Is that increasing at all?
So things like meals, I believe, are governed by a per diem policy. It depends on where you're going. So I can't speak for what Jason Robinson's working on in terms of advocating for more funding. We've had conversations about that being an issue. And there's always the push and pull between increasing the limit and having funding for fewer people, right? And having a lower limit and being able to fund more broadly. So that's always an issue. I would love to see the budget go up next year to account for the fact that everything's expensive, but I haven't heard anything. It's been discussed. Yeah.
Anyone else? Any more questions for Ken Simon? Seeing none, thank you so much, Ken.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so we have our Title IX policy review. We're actually pushing that to our next meeting in the fall, so to give the presenter more time to give us a full presentation. So that means that we are on to our adjunct representation conversation, and I'm gonna give who can I give the floor to? Give the floor to Catherine, Tracy, Mary.
Start us off and I'll try
Okay. Go ahead, Catherine.
So I think the reason why Bevel wanted to bring this up again is just to get the conversation started. See sort of what the temperature in the room is, see if anybody has any reservations of adding the number of faculty and what those reservations may be, just to be open and see really how people are feeling about the subject. So I guess I could start by saying if there's anybody that has reservations or that would object to maybe adding 10, is that to have a total of 10? Is that too many? Would you feel more comfortable with adding 2 or 5? You know, I guess that would be something if anybody would like to raise their hand and chime in.
The way that a lot of our representatives is we are by department or division. So just to kind of, because 5, why it was 5 in the first place, I'm not sure if we know why it was 5 in the first place. You know?
Yes. So it was 1 in the first place. And so when I first became a member of the executive committee a long time, 8 years ago, we advocated with the administration to compensate 5 adjunct faculty because the statewide academic senate says that the academic senate is comprised of the full-time faculty, but they can allow for adjunct representation, and we did not think that 1 person could represent adjunct faculty.
Amen.
And so we got the administration to agree to compensate 5 adjunct faculty to be in the space.
So 5, and you picked 5 as just a number?
Yes.
Okay, so my proposal could be that because adjuncts are in every department, every division, is to have a goal of having 1 per division. Thoughts? Currently, I think our issues committee, like I say adjunct representative, but I am also from social sciences division. You're from kinesiology, right? We have 2 from non-credit, right?
Yeah.
Non-instructional, you're absolutely right, we need to include, but so my humble suggestion would be if we are looking at increasing the number, that it be based on that. And I would love to hear thoughts on that proposal.
I just want to be clear,
There's no voting happening. There's no voting happening.
This is just clearly information item, and I saw Dr. Rose's hand, and then I think I saw Shannon. You had your hand?
So as a longtime member of the executive board and as the faculty chair of the Student Success Committee, my only concern is that adjunct faculty are focused on the 10+1. So there are areas that are under the purview of the academic senate, right? Curriculum, professional development. And I think it's really important that there's training for everyone in the room, full-time and adjunct, to make sure that we focus our efforts on that.
Absolutely.
Because my concern has been that a lot of the issues that are brought up in here are working conditions, which are faculty association issues.
Sure.
And so
everyone can join the faculty association and bring those issues up, but this space needs to focus on the 10+1.
In my...
I'm sorry, go ahead. I got Shannon, and then Lyman, and then I'll come back to you, Meredith. Sure.
Yeah, that sounds completely reasonable to me. I just wanted to, sorry, I just ran out to the bathroom, too much water, but I just wanted to bring up some numbers. I know that Lane had mentioned earlier, it does seem like there are a lot of adjuncts in here, but I think that's just because the 5 of us are so vocal. In terms of numbers, part-time faculty make up 60% of the faculty at PCC, but having 5 senators means that we are only 14% of the senators in the Senate. It may be raised the point that, well, full-timers work more than part-timers, so perhaps it shouldn't be exactly representative of how many part-timers there are. Typically, across the state of California, what colleges do is they rely about 50-50% to get the work done, whether it's classes taught or non-instructional things, about 50% by full-timers and 50% by part-timers.
Just a minute, Shannon. Motion to extend, 5 minutes. Second by Carmen. Okay, are there any objections to extending this by 5 minutes? Okay, seeing none, go ahead, Shannon.
Thank you. I believe that what Bevel originally said was increasing the number of adjunct reps from 5 to 10. If that were to happen, that would increase the total senators to 41, and that would mean that the percentage of part-time senators, the 10 out of the 41, would be 24%. So it would still be far lower than the 50% that would actually be representational. But I know change is slow and incremental, and I would be totally okay with either Bevel's suggestion to increase to 10, or I also really like Meredith's suggestion, because I think if we had one part-time rep from each department, it would be good in 2 ways. First, it would be more representational. There would be more part-time reps, which would be more representational, but also each part-time rep would be focused on issues for their department. As it is now, part-time reps are focused on adjunct issues, but not on issues for our department, because we're not representing our department. So I think that was good.
Okay, I have Lyman. Go ahead.
Yeah, mostly I wanted to bring up things that were just brought up about how one looks at representation instead of a person by person or by number of units, something like that, but also about who is it that one is representing as a senator. Is representing a division, or you're representing adjuncts. But those issues have already been raised. But there's also a possibility to consider that since each division is electing their senators, at least I assume, at least math division, we elect, I don't know how other divisions do it, but we elect ours. Perhaps each division can make these decisions for themselves as to whether or not to want to send adjuncts.
Something to consider. Okay, Meredith?
Actually, I prefer to let other people talk.
Armia?
I was just going to say, whatever number we decide on, just remember they're being compensated.
Yeah.
So there's a money thing to it as well. So whether it's 10 more, 20, 30, that's still compensation for senators, for adjunct senators to remain in the meeting the whole time and participate. So that's just something to consider as well.
Okay.
Madam President.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in order. I'll put you on the list, and then I got your 2 more. But right now I have my...
To original, I want to say it was Tracy's point to what was that faculty felt like they were losing something or something's being taken away. I believe you spoke to that point. Just informally, I have heard from several full-time faculty that their trepidation with giving adjunct faculty more voting rights and a bigger seat at the table or slice of the pie is that traditionally adjuncts have been part-time employed, like they have another career and they teach part-time. And I guess their reticence was that they're not fully invested, and to give them a say in what happens with people who this is their full-time vocation, right? This is how they pay their bills and pay their mortgage. They had concern over that. And then, I mean, whether it's meritable or not, I have no idea. Like I said, I was an adjunct for 6 years before I became full-time, but it was my part-time job. So I saw the side of both, arguments. I really don't have a dog in the fight. I'm all for inclusivity, but I have heard that over and over and over from the 4 different institutions I've taught at. And so just food for thought.
Okay, I put my name on the list, so I'm next. This question, how many adjunct faculty members are part of the AFIC?
Currently?
Yes.
The 4 of us, Shannon, myself, Tracy, and Meredith.
Not senators, of the committee.
Oh, sure, how many committee members do we have? Is it about 10? I'm sorry, I don't have the list right in front of me.
A rough estimate is fine.
I think it's like 8 or 9, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, my only concern is if we are only getting 8 or 9 people in the committee, are we really going to get input from all of the divisions to participate in this? That's just a question. I'm not making an accusation, just something to consider. Hold on. I want to let other people, before we run out of time, and I'll add your names to the list if you're not on.
Oh, I just wanted to respond, but.
Go ahead and I'll add people's names as you want.
Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to say that I think one thing that is a big.
Talene? Sal, is that a second? Okay, this is our final extension, so I'm going to ask everyone to please be as brief as possible. Okay.
I think one big incentive is.
I'm sorry, no, you're right. That's my fault. Okay. Are there any objections to extending to doing this by unanimous consent? No? Okay.
So I think one big incentive is that the committee work is not compensated, so that's really people giving up their free time, while the Senate seats are compensated, and so that's a big incentive for people, at least they get something.
Good. That's fair. Okay, Tim.
I'd be in favor, however we decide to work it out, of having divisional representation. My concern right now, not that this has ever happened, but in theory, we have 5 at-large adjunct representatives. They could all come from one division, which I wouldn't want. I would rather have it divvied up. And so if it were somehow built into it, that division would be part of the process, I'd be in favor of that.
Okay. Tracy?
Yeah, I would just like to say, kind of answering to one of your concerns, with granting adjuncts more representation, the ability to be a part of shared governance, you're going to see a shift of how we participate. It won't be so adjunct focused on our issues. It'll be more of the 10+1 as you mentioned, because those issues will have been resolved. You're going to see a massive shift. So I think if we can get past that hump and agree and become inclusive, you're going to see adjuncts fuel their energy toward exactly what you said, which is 10+1, and basically the running of this institution for the benefit of students.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Lauren?
So I love the idea of adjuncts being in the divisions. I was just wondering, in terms of compensation though, if they're going to be representing the division, they would need to go to the division meetings, right? And that's
absolutely
right. And I see you there, but so I know you go. But that's time that you're giving up. I mean, we're expected to attend, and it's not expected for adjuncts to attend. So I think that's a great idea, but there also have to be an adjustment and work out compensation and think about how that would work so that they're a part of that process. Because I think that would be my concern, is if adjuncts are representing the division but not required to go to the division meetings, then how are they going to be representing the division?
Okay, Talene?
I also wonder, like in the conversation to prepare for fall, to consider if there's a 1 to or 2 to 1, because some divisions have multiple representatives, others are allotted 1 based on number. At that point, does that mean as a full-time faculty member, I represent only the voice of the full-time individuals, and then my part-time counterpart only represents the part-time voice, and then maybe because I'm a I catastrophize everything, it just, I'm Armenian, that's what we do, unfortunately. So it's a thing. I'm worried that if there's something built into language to avoid in-group fighting, because that would be problematic, an inherent issue, where then, one is representing only one voice and not working together. So that's just a fear perhaps I have of that. So that's something to discuss. And as this is discussed, like fleshing that out.
Okay, I have Jessica, then Jennifer, and then Jose.
I'm curious as to how the adjunct's representation of NatSci would be different from our representation of NatSci. Like, I'm wondering, can a adjunct faculty member replace me? Like, wouldn't they still be representing NatSci? I'm trying to understand how the 10+1 issues are different from those two perspectives. Could an adjunct in fact have my seat and be compensated as such for that seat?
This is food for thought because I think we're in new territory, but I think Talina is posing the exact same situation.
I know, we're like this mind melded today.
This is something to remember. We're going to discuss this again in fall, but think about this with your divisions. I want to get to everyone. So I have Jennifer and then Jose.
Were we just talking about adding faculty or are we still talking about voting rights?
We're right now it sounds
Just
like we're
adding
talking about
faculty
just
because, yeah, that's what Bevel
Then
brought up.
I'll go to Jose.
Just curious. Okay, and Jose.
So I wanted to ask, does anybody know how many divisions we have on campus?
11, or not division, I think 11 divisions.
So we're essentially asking to add 11 more members or to make up, I guess.
Well, just to be clear, my thought experiment is not like a plan that I'm proposing. It's just an idea of how it could work and a rationale for a number. So that's all. It doesn't. We don't have to do it.
Well, if we did consider that, then I think we should leave it up to the division to decide whether they should want or they need adjunct representation. Because, in my opinion, I think the fine is enough.
Okay.
Thank you for the discussion, everyone. I
Yes,
appreciate
that was
it.
amazing. Thank you.
Would anybody be absolutely? I don't know if I can do this either.
We can suspend the rule
Well-
by a 2/3 vote.
I just have one more person on my list. Go ahead, Carmen.
I motion we suspend the rule.
Motion to
Suspend the rule.
for this item.
Yes.
I second.
Second by Lean. Okay, any objections to extending this by another 5 minutes?
Well, the motion is to suspend the rule
Oh,
so
so
that
that
we
one
can extend for another 5.
My fear is this will go on and on and on.
I mean, it's only
And
5
then
minutes.
starting in this room in 17 minutes.
Yeah. I just have one comment.
I'm sorry, what did she say? She just said I didn't hear what you said, Danielle. Sorry.
Oh, I just said there's an event starting in this room in
Remember
17 minutes.
Scholarship.
So I just wanted to put that on our radar too.
Okay, who made the motion? Jessica, can you, I know you want to suspend the rules, but can we still just say for 5 minutes?
We can.
Yes.
I motion to suspend the rule and have one additional 5-minute extension.
Thank you. And second, are there any objections to that motion? Seeing none, we have an additional 5 minutes. Go ahead, Carmen.
So I just brought up 2 quick points, just in the scheme of things, just looking at non-instructional and how will the compensation and time affect their hours? Because again, they're hours by hours. So I just want to make sure that they don't get excluded because they say you did too many hours. Just thinking out loud for non-instructional adjunct that may want to participate. That could be some of the reasons why they're not
I can
participating now.
respond.
Okay, you can respond. I'll have Lean and then Talina on that.
So because we're paid by stipend, it wouldn't affect their hours. It's just an additional fund where it would come from for their stipend. So the extra hours would be compensated.
Not if they're required to go to division meetings.
Yes.
That's a different one.
Yes, so that's what I was thinking about too. And in addition, some divisions have been told or telling adjuncts that they're limiting how much stipend they can get. So just overall, I think all divisions need to speak. It needs to be like a larger conversation, if that makes sense, because sometimes that happens. And one last thing that I was gonna say was just with the new, I don't know how to say this, but currently there's less divisions now than what there have been in the past. So some divisions, I'll just use my own as an example. We had a representative in the past, before I became a senator, where we had the psychologists had their own rep, and then the SPS and the rest of us had our own rep. So we used to have 2. We have 1. And so I think clearing that up too is how they're collapsing and growing and collapsing and growing at different times would be helpful into helping people to make a decision. because to the parliamentarian point, sometimes people feel like, well, they're gonna get replaced, potentially, right? That's the unofficial thing I've heard throughout different areas, because their division has already shrunk.
Right.
That's my last two things, thank you.
Thank you. Talene?
No, I think it got covered. I'm okay.
Okay, Lee, and then you're.
Oh, I just wanted to say that this is the first time that I feel like there's gentle energy in this discussion, and I really appreciate that. And there's not a sense of harsh and antagonism. I really appreciate it.
I definitely hear what people are saying about the fear that perhaps an adjunct would be a representative for a department or a division in place of a full-time person. My hope is actually that it would work in a much more flowing way. That's the wrong word, but what I'm hoping is that by increasing representation in here, what we'd be doing is increasing participation. So we would have more adjuncts attending those meetings and have it be much more of a cooperative enterprise as opposed to kind of what's happening now where people are more siloed. So that would be my response to that. I mean, it definitely something to figure out, but in trying to change sort of the structure of things so that we have much more collegiality. That's the dream.
I think I'm glad this was brought up. I think this was a very good conversation to have. It's not an easy thing, as we see. There's lots of different variables that I never considered. But please take this back to your divisions, have these conversations, get input, because there may be other variables that we haven't considered on how to make this work, or why we should veer away from it. So I want everyone to please keep an open mind. And that's it. Let's move on so that we can be done. We only have 2 more things to do. One is subcommittee. I need a motion to approve this person for the subcommittee. Lee?
Motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, Catherine is a second. Are there any objections to approving this by unanimous consent? Seeing none, this item is approved. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to lump the hiring committee candidates together so that we can just do one approval, but I need that motion. Jessica?
I propose we lump.
Okay.
I second.
Second the lump. Okay. Are there any objections to approving this by unanimous consent? Seeing none, they are approved. Awesome. Future agenda items, I'm actually going to bypass that. Can I do that?
Yes.
I'm going to bypass that because this is our last meeting. If you do have things you would like to talk about in the fall, please email me and we will try, I cannot guarantee, we will try to get them on our agenda. Are there any announcements? Yes, Dr. Stevens.
So I have one for my colleague. I'm not just on my phone. She had to leave, so she told me to read the message. So, okay. This is from the library. The PCC library is now, hold on, I got another message. I'm sorry, y'all. The PCC library is now offering free Scantrons and Blue Books at the circulation desk through the end of finals week. So if any student needs Scantron or Blue Books, they can get it at the circulation desk in the library. Thank you.
Okay, yes, Melissa.
I just want to commend the executive committee for today for letting democracy happen, letting conversation happen, and now doing the suspending of the rules, because, you know, sometimes we do want to have a conversation. So, and I also appreciate the president repeating. Earlier I was getting, like, it was confusing, like what exactly were we voting on and whatnot, but I appreciate that you repeated what we were voting on, and then it went really smoothly today. Thank you.
Dr. Stevens, I'm sorry, Lyman.
Yeah, so this is my last Senate meeting, so you won't have Dick Nixon to kick around anymore. But Michelle, yeah, I'm being replaced by Michelle Ingram from that department. She's been here a long time, but I think this will be her first time as a senator, so be nice to her. And also, I do believe that it is Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day today, so keep that in mind.
Thank you. In fact, we will end this meeting in honor of those who have been impacted by the Armenian genocide. Are there any other announcements, yes.
One more, okay, same thing from the library, Danielle, my counterpart, that was that second message that was coming through. It says the library will also host the Stressless Fest, the week of finals, which includes games, free coffee, and creative activities. A flyer will be sent to Academic Senate, so please check your email, senators. Thank you, that's my last thing I have.
Okay, anyone else, any other announcements? Okay, as I said before, we would like to end this meeting in honor of those who've been impacted by the Armenian genocide. So please keep those in your heart. If you know folks who've been impacted, show them love. And I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Russ isn't here. I saw Lee's hand first. Is that a second? Okay, if there are no objections, we are adjourned. See you all in the fall.